Hi, welcome to today's class. Recently I was down in San Felipe, which is in Baja California, Mexico, and it was a big motorcycle run called El Diablo Run. Myself and a couple of the guys went down to the sand and did a little bit of yoga on low tide. You can place your mat wherever it's great, inside, outside. We didn't have any blocks here with us, but if you have some blocks, a blanket, anything that might make this a little bit more comfortable. And you don't need a mat to practice as well. You can always just practice outside in the grass. Or if you have a non-slippery area, that would be perfect. So find a comfortable seated position. If that means that you sit up on a blanket or on blocks, that might help the hip flexors and the pelvis for it to be a little more comfortable to sit up nice and tall in an upright spinal position. If you need the hands on the knees or the legs to help with a little bit more upright, you can always do that. Or you can just sit them here, palms facing down or palms facing up. And place your head on top of the rib cage, on top of the pelvis. Another option is to flex the toes in towards the shins. That may help to support the ankles. You can try it out, see if it feels better, and if not, you can change it. And feel the pelvis sit up nice and tall. You can have the eyes closed, the eyes open. Collarbones are nice and broad. Think of very gently hugging the back of the shoulder blades down onto the upper back ribs, supporting the body. And just begin to breathe in and out. If you have an ujjayi breath, breathing in and out of the nose, the lips are sealed. Slight restriction at the back of the throat as you slowly drag the air in using the whisper muscles, and then dragging the air out again of the nose, once more using the whisper muscles. Feel the lungs fill as you breathe in and out. As the ribs pull in, the navel tones back gently. Notice if you're clenching your jaw, your eyes. Let the tongue relax into the bottom palate. And continue to breathe. Inhale, lift the arms straight up to the sky. On the exhale, bring the hands to heart, slowly hands to the center of the chest. Inhale, arms lift straight up to the sky again. And exhale, again, hands to heart center, bringing the palms back down. Then we add on, arms lift straight up towards the sky. On the exhale, goalpost the arms, pull the elbows back and down, lift the breastplate up, collarbones wide. Lifting out of the low spine, keep the pelvis sitting nice and tall. Inhale, lift the arms straight back up again. And exhale, hands to heart center. Again, inhale, the arms lift straight up towards the sky, sit tall. Option to look up. Exhale, goalpost the arms. Again, elbows wide and down. Inhale, the arms lift straight back up towards the sky. And this time, exhale, twist to the right hand side. Bring the right hand behind the low back. Left hand can come outside the knee. Sit up nice and tall. Gently hug the outer hips in so you're really supporting the sacrum. Feel the twist at the chest. If it's suitable for the neck, you can turn the head over the right shoulder. Every exhale, gently toning the navel back in towards the spine. Feel the crown of the head pull straight up towards the sky. As we now slowly release, inhale, lift the arms straight up towards the sky, coming back to the center again. And exhale, we'll take it to the other side. Let's take a twist to the left. Left hand behind the spine. If you need to place it on a block or a prop to lift it up, to get the spine nice and tall and straight, right hand comes outside of the knee. Again, sit up tall, hug the outer hips in so you're supporting through the low spine, the pelvis, the sacrum. Continue to breathe in and out. As you inhale, lift back to the center, arms lift up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center. We'll cross the opposite leg in front this time, so whichever other shin, place that in front. If you have the mobility, try and do this without using the hands. Inhale, lift the arms straight up to the sky. And exhale, goalpost the arms, pull the elbows back and down. Inhale, the arms come straight back up to the sky again. And exhale, bring the left palm down to the ground, the right arm comes up and over. Let's take a side body stretch down the right lateral seam. You can take any movement here that's good. That might be moving the right arm down or up, or bending the elbow, turning the upper arm bone in or out, rolling the palm, turn the head up or down. Wherever you feel the greatest stretch, whatever feels best for your body on this side. Maybe even really anchoring the right hip down. And then press into the left palm. As you inhale, lift the torso back upright. Exhale, goalpost the arms. Inhale, the arms lift straight back up to the sky. And exhale, right hand down. Reach the left arm up and over. Again, you have the option to anchor the left hip down to get a greater stretch, really feeling that left hip push. And then move if it's comfortable, or stay still. That might be moving the left arm in or out, rolling the palm, the upper arm bone, moving the head, moving the torso. Please remember to do whatever is suitable for your body. If it doesn't feel good, if it's hurting, if it's pain, then please don't do it. Feeling this side, a nice deep stretch, hopefully in the outer left side of the body. As you again press into the right palm, inhale, lift all the way back up to the center. And exhale, hands to heart center. As we come now into a tabletop position, bring the hands approximately beneath the shoulders. Fingers can be together or spread comfortably wide. Knees about a hip width position. Lift the biceps up. Keep the collarbones pulled nice and wide. Feel the neck to the upper thighs really supporting the torso. Inhale, cow pose, lift the chest. Exhale, cat pose, dome the spine. Option to come up onto the fingertips here. Navel pulls in. Inhale again, cow pose. You can bend the elbows a little, collarbones wide. And exhale, cat pose again, really rounding the spine, sucking the navel up. Feel the rib cage pull back. Inhale, cow pose again. Palms pressed down, collarbones wide. Lift the front of the chest. Allowing that extension of the spine, and then flexion of the spine into pressing the hips back to the heels. We'll continue with this. Inhale, cow, lift the chest up, open the front of the spine. And exhale through cat pose, a spinal flexion, hips back to the heels. Feel the nice deep back lying stretch. And then again, inhale, come up to cow, lift the chest, broaden the front of the collarbones wide. And again, exhale, cat pose, hips back to heels all the way. Really feel the back of the body open up. This time, coming back up to a tabletop position, hands and knees with the toes tucked forwards. Hover the knees off the ground, just lifting them slightly an inch or two. The outer hips hug in, biceps lift up, hug the triceps in, and just make sure the hands are in the correct position so the wrists and the shoulders feel comfortable. The outer hips hug, and pull the rib cage in towards the pelvis, really supporting the body completely. Now keeping the hips nice and low, pull the chest forwards. With control, step back to a high plank position. 1 foot at a time, hips stay low, really supporting and containing the torso. The heel bones press back, the quads are firm. Exhale, downward facing dog. If you need any movement, please take it, maybe bending one leg, then the other, moving the pelvis around, move the head, anything that might feel good. Really feel the length of the spine, the hips pulling back away from the wrists. The upper back broadens. Make sure the hands are stable, whether you're on a mat or the ground or anywhere outside. The hamstrings lift up, the calves push down. Move the left foot a little closer to the center. Inhale, lift the right leg straight up to the sky. Exhale, open the hip up to the right side, maybe bending the knee. Pull the left hip back. You're welcome to straighten the right leg here or keep the knee bent, reaching the heel towards the left glute. Now keep the knee nice and high as you possibly can. Step the foot outside the right wrist. Wriggle the foot up just a little bit higher. Lower the back knee to the ground, and you can stay up on the palms, come to the forearms, or if you have blocks, use blocks under the palms or the forearms. Keep the spine long. Really feeling space. If you'd like a more active stretch, the left knee can be off the ground. And feel the outer right hip very gently hugging back. Take a full deep inhale breath. Full complete exhale. So the back knee's on the ground. If you need a little more height or a little more space, a block goes under the left palm. The right hand comes back to grab the left foot. Now if it's hard to grab, you might want to have a strap handy. You can put the strap around the foot, or you can just use this as like a hamstring curl, pulling the foot in towards the glute, using the hamstring. If you have the hand in the foot, I want you to kick the foot into the hand, pull the foot towards you, a little bit of resistance. And with control, slowly release the foot to the ground. Lift the back knee up off the ground, start to inhale, lift the right leg straight up towards the sky. And exhale, release the right foot to the ground. Bring the right foot closer to the center of the mat. Inhale, left leg straight up towards the sky. Exhale, open the hip to the left side. Again, that option of bending the knee, reaching the foot towards the right glute this time, or maybe straightening the leg straight up towards the sky. Hug the outer arms in. Right hip hugs back. Again, keep the knee as high as you possibly can. Step the foot outside of the left wrist. There's the option here to wriggle the foot up just a little bit further. You can always use the left hand to do that. And either staying active with the back knee lifted, you're welcome to lower the back knee down. You can either stay in the palms, come to the forearms, or if you do have the props, use them under the palms or the forearms. Keep the spine long. And again, if you moved on the previous side, allow a little bit of movement or stillness. And continue to breathe into the front of the right thigh here. You might feel slight compression in the left outer hip or the left hip flexor. Just make sure it's not too intense. If it is, you can walk the left foot a little further to the left side. Exhale, lower the right knee to the ground. As we move into the quad stretch again, you're welcome to put a block under the right palm. Reach the left hand back to grab the foot. And again, if you need a strap, if you do have the foot in the hand or a strap, kick the foot back, pull the foot in. Just create that little bit of resistance into the front of the right thigh, really allowing it to open up just a little bit more. And then release the foot back to the ground. Bring the left palm inside the left foot. Lift the back knee. And then inhale, lift the left leg back behind you again. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, look forwards. And exhale, we're going to jump or step the feet into a frog squat, feet outside the wrists. Hands come to heart, elbows to knees. Have the feet wide enough so the heels are on the ground. If you need a support here, you can always put a blanket under the heels, or maybe even lift the hips a little bit higher. And really feel the knees pulling back. The big toe mounds are present, very gently pressing down. And just like before, when we're sitting up tall, this time we're with the hips off the ground, but really allow the pelvis to lift up. Hug the outer hips in and back. And lift up from the spine from there. Collarbones pull wide, shoulder blades pull back and down. You have an option here to reach the arms forwards or up towards the sky. If the arms are lifting, the knees pull back as we begin to slowly stand up now. As we stand for 3, for 2, or 1. Inhale, the arms lift straight up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Bring the feet in either to a hip width position. If it's a little closer, that's more comfortable for you, you can place them where it feels best. Press the thigh bones back, lengthen the tailbone down, stand up as tall as you possibly can. Tensegrity from the feet all the way up to the crown of the head, standing tall. Inhale, lift the arms straight up towards the sky. And exhale, just as we were sitting, goalpost the arms, lift the chest up away from the low spine. As you inhale, lift the arms straight back up to the sky again. On the exhale, a little bend of the knees, tip forwards and down, hamstrings lift up to the glutes, hands to the ground. Inhale, lift halfway, Ardha Uttanasana, lengthen the spine, leaning forwards. Exhale, step the left foot back, lower the knee to the ground. Toes are tucked or untucked. Inhale, crescent moon, lift the arms straight up towards the sky. Pull the hips back so the left hip's on top of the left kneecap, and wrap the outer right hip back and down. Take an inhale, lift up nice and tall. Exhale, hands to heart, revolve to the right hand side. Hook the elbow outside of the knee, or you can always bring the hand or the forearm there. Right shoulder blade pulls back away from the ear. Push your right knee into the elbow, elbow into the knee. So the same resistance, so you can stay stable. The outer hips are hugging in, the spine pulls forwards. Really feel the length through the front of the spine. The collarbones stay wide. Take an inhale, continue to push the elbow into the knee, knee into elbow. One more full exhale breath, really hugging the outer hips in. Inhale back to the center, arms lift straight up towards the sky. And exhale, half splits, hands come to the ground or to your blocks if you need support. Straighten the front leg, piking the hips back, the outer left hip hugs in. You're welcome to move around a little. You can very gently move the hips left to right, maybe flex the right toes in or out. Keep the chest reaching forwards like a halfway lift. Inhale, flex the toes in. Exhale, flex the toes away. Again, inhale, flex the toes in. Exhale, flex them away. One more time, inhale, flex the toes in. Exhale, flex the toes away. Plant the foot, bend the front knee. Tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. With the hands planted, step forwards into a standing forward fold, controlling the hips. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Exhale, step the right foot back. Again, lower the knee to the ground, toes tucked or untucked. Inhale, lift up, crescent moon. Again, pull the hips back. Make sure the right hip's on top of the right knee. Outer left hip wraps down as you pull the left lateral hamstring back. Front of the pelvis lifts up, rib cage pulls down. The outer hips hug in for support. Keep the front of the rib cage pulled down. The outer left hip hugging back. Full inhale. Exhale, hands to heart, revolve to the left side. Again, if you can, elbow outside of the knee. If not, the forearm or the palm. The knee pushes into the elbow or the arm. The left shoulder blade pulls back. Keep the spine pulling forwards away from the pelvis. And the right hip hugs back and in. That resistance stays from left knee to left elbow. Again, keeping the stability there. Pull the collarbones nice and wide. Inhale, outer hips hug, come back to the center, arms lift straight up. And exhale, half split pose, Ardha Hanumanasana. Pike the hips back, straighten the front leg. The hands can come to the ground or onto props, on blocks if you have them. And you can move here, you can always stay still if that feels better, but maybe moving the hips slightly left, slightly right, you might find a deeper stretch somewhere. The spine stays nice and long. And again, lift the spine up a little taller, maybe even come up onto the blocks or onto your fingertips if you need that extra little bit of space. You can always hug the outer right hip in, supporting the pelvis. Continue to pull the left hamstring back. There's always an option for a tiny little bend in the left knee as well. As we'll now inhale, flex the toes into the face. Exhale, flex the toes away. Again, inhale, flex the toes in. Exhale, flex the toes away. One more time. Inhale, flex the toes all the way in towards you. Right hip hugs. Exhale, plant the foot down, lift the back knee. As you lift the back knee up, lean forwards, hug the left hip in, step into a forward fold at the top of the mat. Top of your space. Inhale, halfway lift. Stay in a halfway lift. The arms are either behind you or in front. Hamstrings lift up to the glutes. Outer hips hug in. Spine stays nice and long. Inhale, chair pose. As you bend the knees, sit the hips back. Point the knees over the middle toes. The hands can stay lifted at the heart or at the hips. Think of pulling the pubic bone back. The outer hips hugging in. The rib cage, the front of the rib cage pulls back and down to the lower back rib cage. Take another full inhale breath. One more full exhale. Inhale, stand up, arms lift straight up towards the sky. And exhale, hands to heart center. Take a full deep inhale breath. Full deep exhale. Create a little bend in the right knee, coming onto the left tiptoes. Hug the outer right hip in, and you're welcome to stay here on the tiptoes or lift the left foot up off the ground. And the toes can be flexed up to the face or pointed down, whatever is more stable for you, whatever you can connect to the core with. Hug the right hip in, right quad back, right glute is on. Rib cage and pelvis stay connected. Now, if you can, without using the hands, move into tree pose. Open the left knee to the left side, and then place the foot to the inner leg, whether that means lower down or higher up. And just see if you can not use the hands for this so it's more active, a lot more stable, creating a lot of balance. Then push the outer right thigh into the left foot, really creating the stability there. As you square the pelvis forwards and also to the ground, it might mean that the left knee's slightly turned in a little bit more. Hug the outer right hip back. Exhale, hands to heart center. Bring the left knee to point forwards. You're welcome to keep the toes on the ground or lifted. As you slowly bring the right knee, bring the left leg all the way back behind you. Find balance and step the left foot back behind you. You're welcome to lower the back knee or keep it lifted. Create a little bend in the back knee. The feet are about a hip width position. Inhale for crescent lunge, arms lift straight up to the sky. Hug the outer right hip back and roll the inner left thigh back to the inner left heel. Again, the front of the pelvis lifts up, the rib cage pulls down. Think of wrapping the outer right hip down towards the ground. Exhale, the hands come to the ground. Lean forwards, step to a forward fold, standing position. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen the spine. Stay here again on the exhale, either arms back or arms forwards. Think of the length of the front of the spine. Outer hips hug in, inhale, chair pose. Again, sit the hips back, point the knees forwards. Pull the outer hips in. Rib cage pulls forwards and down. The inner thighs lengthen forwards, down to the inner knees. Sit the butt bones back. Take a full inhale. Hold on the exhale breath. Maybe just sit a tiny bit deeper. Inhale, stand up, mountain pose, nice and tall. Exhale, hands come to heart center. This time, create a little bend in the left knee. Come onto the right tiptoes. You're always welcome to stay here. Hug the left hip in. Really squeeze the glute in. Either stay with the toes on the ground or lift the foot up off the ground. Toes can flex up or down again. The left hip really hugs in, really supporting and stabilizing. Push the left quad back, left glute forwards. As you open the inner right leg, again without using the hands, place the foot to the inner left thigh, or the calf, or the ankle, moving into an active tree position. Now press the left outer thigh into the right leg, wherever the foot is. And again, lengthen up through the front of the spine, pull the pelvis up, rib cage down. Hug the outer left hip back, squaring the pelvis off. Again, if the knee comes in just a little, that's fine. Really feel the left thigh nice and firm, stabilizing. You can look to the ground just a little further in front of you, or wherever it works for gaze. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, bring the right leg back in front of you. You're welcome to bring the toes to the ground again. And then slowly bend the left knee as you step the right foot all the way back, finding that balance, toes to the ground. Again, you have the same option, back knee to the ground, or keep the knee lifted, just a little bend in the knee. Feet about hip width, inhale, crescent lunge. Left knee points over the middle toe, the left outer hip hugs back, right inner thigh rolls back towards the right inner heel. Pull the front ribs back and down. Continue to hug the outer hips. Continue to slide the left lateral hamstring back. Take a full inhale breath. And exhale as you tip forward, bring the hands to the ground, leaning forwards. Left hip hugs back as you step the right foot next to the left. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, frog squat. Widen the feet again. Bring them out nice and wide as they can go. And then come down into a frog squat position. You're welcome to sway side to side if that feels good. Again, try and bring the heels to the ground. Push the elbows back into the knees. You're welcome to move into a little flying position here. Elbows and knees stay connected as you look forwards. Bring the palms flat onto the ground. Look forwards and flex the toes out. Continue to look forwards. Toes flex out, heels push back. Squeeze the knees in, squeeze the elbows out. Continue to breathe and come back to a frog squat whenever you're ready, whenever you finish playing with this. This is something I don't normally teach in classes, but if you'd like to move into a headstand, you're welcome to. The hands will come to the ground about a shoulder width position. Make sure the chin is tucked in and you're on the crown of the head, that you're not further forwards or backwards. As you pull the elbows in towards one another, you might lift one or both feet up towards the ceiling. Remember, this is a lot of stability. I want you to hug the ribs in, the outer hips in, pushing into the palms. Think of lifting away from the head, really lengthening up towards the sky. Again, please remember, if this is not suitable for your spine, please do not do it. Maybe just stay in a frog squat, maybe just a flying frog. Hands on the ground, maybe the feet come off the ground. When you're ready, we come back to a frog squat position with our hands to heart, elbows to knees. Again, have the feet as wide as you need, the hips as high as you need, maybe even something under the back of the heels just to help support you. You can gently move side to side, you can stay still, outer hips are hugging in, the inner knees pull back, the chest lifts up. Sit up nice and tall. Continue to breathe in and out and feel the breath. Feel it moves into the lungs, filling up the low back, the stomach, the low abdomen. Pull the navel in as you breathe out. Exhale, forward fold. Bring the feet back in towards one another. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step the right foot back, the left foot back. Coming into a high plank position. Again, pull the chest forwards, the heel bones back, nice and firm, so your entire body's nice and stiff and strong and stable. Exhale, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Inhale, right leg straight up to the sky, keep the hips square to the ground. Exhale, open the hips to the right again, just like before. Then pulling the left hip back. Inhale, lengthen the right leg back behind you. And then exhale, bring the leg forwards into a half active pigeon position. So keeping the shin where it lands, the toes flex in. If you need to put anything under the hands, blocks to lift you up higher, please do. You have an option to tuck the back toes, pull the outer left hip forwards. You have an option to lift the arms off the ground, maybe reaching them straight up towards the sky. Keep the right toes flexed, the outer right shin pushing forwards in towards the ground, so really stabilizing. And hug the outer left hip forwards as well, right outer hip back. Pull the front of the pelvis forwards, so the outer hips are really stabilizing you. Continue to stay nice and long and lifted in the spine. If you are lifted up with the hands off the ground, really hug the outer hips in to support you. Continue to breathe in, nice and deep. Ujjayi breath if you're still practicing Ujjayi. Drag it in, and slowly drag it out. Continue to hug the outer hips, one final breath here. As we then bring the hands back in front of us, tuck the back toes, lift the back knee, press into the palms, hug the outer arms, the upper arm bones in. Inhale, lift the right leg off the ground, back into a three-legged dog. Right leg comes behind you. So you can either stay here, or you're welcome to roll the right leg around, taking big circles, or you can flip the dog, bringing the right leg over to the left side, reaching the right hand off the ground, pushing the hips up towards the sky. Again, you're welcome to just stay in a downward facing dog. Continue to really feel the pelvis push up towards the sky. Open the front of the body. Good. Take one more full deep inhale breath. And exhale back to a downward facing dog. Flip back through. Use the outer left hip. Take a full deep inhale. Full deep exhale. Inhale, left leg straight up towards the sky. Exhale, open the left leg up towards the left side. Take an inhale, square the hips back to the ground again. And exhale, bring the knee forwards, bring the shin to the ground. Again, keep the shin where it is rather than pulling it forwards, moving into an active pigeon. You can tuck the back toes here, you can lift the back knee, you can keep the hands on the ground, on the blocks, or maybe lift the hands up towards the sky. So really flexing the left toes in, the left shin forwards, the left outer hip hugs back, the right hip hugs forwards, the front of the pelvis pulls up, the ribs are in, the chest lifts up to the sky. Continue to breathe, just breathe here. Supporting the pelvis. Left toes stay flexed. Breathe in and out. Feel and notice. Notice what the body's telling you. How tight is this side? What is going on here for you? What's similar from this side to the previous side? I'm here for just a couple more breaths. Really starting to feel, to listen, to notice. And then bring the hands to the ground again in front of you. Press the palms down, tuck the right toes, walk the right knee in just a little bit. As you lift the hips up, lift the left leg up behind you and come back to a three-legged dog. Again, you can stay here, just rolling the leg around, or move into a flip dog or a wild thing. Pressing the hips up, the left hand will come up off the ground, roll the right shoulder back away from the ear, push the hips forwards. Really feel the outer right hip hug in. Open the front of the body up towards the sky. As you slowly come back to a downward facing dog, flip back through. Take a full inhale breath, pulling the hip rims back. Exhale, child's pose. Bring the knees down nice and wide. Untuck the toes. If it's comfortable, bring the toes to touch behind. Lengthen the chest forwards. You're welcome here to put any props under the chest or the forehead if that's going to help you to feel comfortable. You can always sit the hips up on something as well. If you have sensitive knees, put something under the knees. Walk the arms as far as they can go to the left. Press the hips back and down towards the right heel. Feel the length on the right side of the body. Keep reaching as far as you can. You can stack one palm on top of the other. You can take some movement. Maybe rotate one shoulder up, the other shoulder up towards the sky. Whatever feels good for you here. You can take a bind. You can thread the arms. Keep the spine long, in the far direction of the far left side of the mat. And then bring the hands straight back through the center as you bring yourself over to the right hand side. Press the hips back and down towards the left heel. Again, creating length through the front left side of the body, the lateral left side of the body, maybe rotating the spine up or down, pressing the hips back towards the left heel. You can move the right side, the left side. You can stack the palms, anything that feels good for this side. Again, the spine stays long, reaching into the far right corner of the mat. Take another full deep inhale breath. One more exhale breath. As you then bring the arms back to the center into a child's pose. Keeping the spine long again, hips heavy towards the heels. Upper back is nice and broad, pull the collarbones wide. Take a full inhale. On a full exhale, ribs pull in, navel pulls in. Couple more breaths here. As you inhale, feel the stomach reach towards the inner thighs. As you exhale, the ribs pull in, navel in, low back in. One more breath. Deep inhale, drag it in. Feel it move through the back of the throat, through the skull. One more deep exhale. As you inhale, come up to a hands and knees position. And then sit back with the legs coming in front of you. If you need to sit up on a blanket, you can fold it up a little higher. Just let the pelvis be slightly tipped forward so it's more in an upright position rather than leaning backwards. So find that comfortable position for the pelvis. If you need to place anything under the knees as well, you're welcome to. As you now flex the toes in towards the face, sit up nice and tall, again like the start of class and as we were standing. The outer hips hug in, the hamstrings pull back. Inhale, the arms lift straight up to the sky. Sit as tall as you can. Exhale, tip forwards. Bring the hands either to the legs, the ground, the calves, maybe the feet. The chest pulls forward, so make sure you're not rounding forwards, the front of the spine. It's more like a cow pose. Pull the chest forwards and up. The baby toes pull back to the outer hips. The inner thighs push forwards through the inner arch, the high arch. Keep the chest pulling forwards, collarbones wide. Hamstrings still pull back to the glutes. So it's a slight tip of the pelvis forwards. Take a full inhale breath, lengthen the spine. Full exhale breath. As you reach forwards with the arms, inhale, lift all the way up, outer hips hug in as you lift to the sky. Exhale, release the hands to the ground. And walk the feet flat to the ground, about a hip width position. Have the hands pointing forwards towards the glutes, or you can turn the fingers outwards. If you have blocks, you can put the palms up on blocks as well. As you press down into the palms, lift the hips up off the ground, making sure the distance from underarm to knees is the same as wrists to heels. So really use the hamstrings to lift the hips up, maybe a little bend in the elbows to pull the shoulder heads back, lifting the heart a little bit higher. The chin can be forwards, or if it's okay for the neck, you're welcome to let the head rest back. Really feel the hips lift higher. Exhale, release the hips to the ground. This time bring the soles of the feet together. Either hold the feet, the big toes, the outer ankles. The knees come nice and wide into Baddha Konasana, butterfly, seated position. Inhale, lift the chest forwards and up, maybe keeping the hips up on that block or blanket. Exhale as you tip forwards, again with a neutral spine. So the pelvis tips forwards, the pubic bone tips back, the shin bones pull up, the outer knees pull out and down. So a little bit like the frog squat when you're pulling the knees back. Collarbones are wide, lengthen the front of the spine, pull the chest forwards. Continue to breathe in and out, keeping the spine nice and long, shoulder blades pull back. One more full exhale breath. You need to tuck the chin slightly, keeping the back of the neck long. Inhale, sit straight back up. Exhale, bring the knees back together towards one another. And bring the forehead in towards the knees, hug the front of the shins. You're welcome to gently rock left to right side, left to right in the pelvis. Shoulders back away from the ears. And now bring yourself onto your back. Make sure you have your blocks handy if you do have blocks there, and place them where you can just grab them, easy arms reach. And whilst on your back, bring the legs in and move into a happy baby. You can either grab the back of the knees, the ankles, the big toes, or maybe the outer feet into a happy baby pose. Pull the knees wide towards the underarms, press the back of the pelvis down. Collarbones stay wide, the head pulls away from the pelvis. You can move gently side to side if it's comfortable. You can stay still. Think of the biceps pulling the knees down, the low back and the pelvic floor pushing the back of the pelvis down. Make sure that the upper neck's not pressing into the ground at all. If it is, lift the chin slightly, create a nice curve in the cervical spine. Feel the length through the spine. Continue to breathe in and out. Noticing again what the body's doing, what you're feeling. If you'd like to extend the legs, or bring them in, anything that feels good. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Flex the toes towards the shin. You can either release the left foot to the ground. You can push the hand into the knee. Or you can interlace the fingers at the left leg or the left shin. If it is comfortable, you can very, very slowly rock left to right. Head and shoulders are on the ground. Have the pelvis grounded, nice and stable. You can always hold the back of the left leg and press the right hand into the inner right knee, creating resistance with the leg. And flex the toes towards the shin. Keep the spine long. Continue to breathe in and out. Find where the best stretch is for you. Take another full deep inhale breath. A full deep exhale. Make sure that the left foot is now on the ground. Move the hips slightly to the right side as you drop the foot over to the left. If you need the hips to move a little further over to the right, they can. You're welcome to put the block under the outer leg or under the foot. The arms can come out wide. The head can turn left or right in any direction it feels best for the neck. You can support the leg with the left hand to the inside of the knee or the shin if that feels comfortable. Breathe here. Keep length in the spine. You always put the block under the inside of the shin as well if that does feel better for the body, so you can relax the arms to the ground. And as you lay here, just breathing in and out. Notice where the mind begins to wander to, what thoughts come in. You're making lists, so you're thinking what you have to do next, maybe what you want to eat, maybe things that happened already earlier today or on previous days. Bring all of those thoughts, maybe place them under the mat or just send them away up into the ether, and then come back to where you are here and now. Take a full inhale, full exhale. As you bring the legs back to the center, move the hips back in line with the shoulders, unravel the legs, and then hug the knees into the chest. And we now move to the other side. Cross your left ankle on the right thigh. Have an option to keep the right foot on the ground, maybe pushing the left hand to the left inner knee, left toes flexed to the shin. You can always bring the legs in as well and interlace the fingers of the right leg, whether it's the shin or the hamstring. If you are interlacing the fingers, take the awkward grip, so swapping the fingers over completely. You're welcome to gently sway left to right side, whether the foot's on the ground or it's lifted, right foot. You always have that option of right hand holding the back of the right thigh, left palm pressing into the inner left knee as well. Just make sure you're supporting the left ankle by flexing the toes. Again, the upper neck's lifted off the ground if you need to lift the chin. And breathing into this side, just noticing similarities, what the body's doing, what you're feeling. And now bringing the right foot back to the ground. Lift the hips up slightly, move them slightly over to the left so the legs can drop over to the right side. Again, if you need to put a block under the sole of the left foot or maybe the outer right thigh, you can. If you need to move the hips slightly further left, that's another option to give the low spine a little more space. And the arms can be wide, the head can turn in any direction, left or right. If you need to support the legs or the left leg, you're welcome to put the right hand to the inner shin or the inner knee if it can support it enough, or maybe use a block there. You can turn the block on its tall side and have it angled in slightly if that supports enough. If not, you can just let the leg drop. As you again be aware, breathe in and feel. Just allowing all the senses to be on point, to be online. For you to feel, listen, notice thoughts. Notice each sensation. Just be aware of all the little things. The medium things, the big things. Things that the body's telling you. Things that you may not have listened to. Breathe in and out. Another thing to be aware of is the breath. Really listening to how slow it's moving, how fast, how easy, how calm. Let that be a guide of what's going on. So we're here for just a couple more breaths. Breathing into the areas that are tightest, that are most tense, that are not wanting to let go. Maybe the low back, the glute. Feel every exhale help the body relax just a tiny, tiny little bit more. As you slowly bring the legs back into the center, hips back in line with the shoulders, unravel the legs, and lift the feet straight up towards the sky for legs up the wall. The hands can be wide or the hands can be beside the hips. And you're welcome to move into anything else from here that might feel good for you. Just make sure that the neck's not being compressed into the ground. Be very aware, please. If you are staying here, push the heels straight up to the sky. Feet can be together or about a hip width position. Just breathing. Ground the back of the pelvis down, feel it anchored, feel it stable. And continue to breathe in and out. Take another full deep inhale breath, feel the heels reach up. Full exhale, hug the knees in. Bring the forehead all the way into the knees. Make the tiniest, smallest little ball that you possibly can. Squeeze everything in nice and tight. Recoil here. And then release as we rest now into our resting pose, into pentacle pose, corpse pose or shavasana. Arms and legs can be wide. Here you might want to use the blocks under the back of the knees to support you. Allow any breath control to go. Allow the body to just surrender. Let it go as much as possible. If necessary, you can always bring the feet flat to the ground as well and bend the knees if that feels better for the low back. Allow the focus to still be here, but in a soft, hazy way. Allow yourself to just be. And as you're ready, begin to bring your awareness back into this place of where you are. Maybe tiny little movements, slightly deeper breaths. Maybe rubbing your thumb pad over every one of your fingers. Stretching the arms, rolling the wrists, moving the legs. And then taking your time to roll onto the most comfortable side. Prefer to just bring the knees into the chest first, slowly bring the knees in. You can hug them in towards the stomach, taking your time. Maybe gentle rock of the pelvis left to right if that feels good. But really taking your time here, allowing the transition to be calming, to keep the sense of gentleness with you. But then as you're ready, come up to a seated position. You can sit cross-legged like the beginning of class. You can sit on your heels, legs forwards, sit up on a block or a blanket. The hands can again be on the legs, in the lap, at the heart, or over the heart space. Eyes closed or open. And sit up nice and tall. And just thank the body and the mind here for everything it's done for you today, for this class, for the movement, for you being able to connect, to create some space, to hopefully feel a little bit better. And thank you so much for Davey and Scott for allowing me to guide them through this practice, through gaining a little bit of space in our bodies on the beautiful beach on the Sea of Cortez in San Felipe in Mexico. Thank you as well for allowing me to guide you today. I hope that whatever you needed from this class, you gained it. Whether that is a little bit of body space, a bit of mind space, or maybe in the emotions, or maybe the really deep layers of the body. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time. I appreciate that you're trusting me to guide you through practice. As we breathe here, be grateful for the breath, be grateful for the presence. Bring the hands through prayer, thumbs come to the third eye, and we bow in thanks. Thanks for everything. Namaste. Please remember to take your time. If you need to have water or maybe move slowly or even lie back down, that's an option. Please have an amazing rest of your day, whatever you get up to. Really use this space that you created, whether it is the body, mind, or the breath space. Namaste.